Well, we just talked to Frank Solich, the head football coach at Ohio University, and now it is our pleasure to welcome Don Treadwell, the head man at Miami, as we're going to be featuring this game for you here on SportsTime Ohio come Saturday afternoon at 3:30 from Oxford. Coach, good to have you on the program. Welcome, sir.
Hey, appreciate it, guys. Good to be with you.
I noticed you got a 3-4 record, and then I started doing my homework for my interview with you. Boy, is that deceiving. Ohio State, Boise State, and Cincinnati, and that's nothing to be ashamed of at all.
Well, not at all. I think without question we've had, I think I've said on a number of occasions, a very challenging, especially non-conference schedule. And, and it is what it is. You just work through it. But there's no question about that. It's one that you'd like to have some things in place, much like our opponent this week, who I truly admire, Coach Solich, of having a program in place going into his 8th year. You're probably going to be a little bit further along, for those type of games at that point.
Don, I've always been a believer of a tough non-conference schedule for a team that is in a conference because it should theoretically benefit you in conference play. Is that the way you and your coaching staff approach it with your kids?
I think you're always looking for the positives, much like you said, whatever you can draw out of it. I think like anything, it's a physical football game, no matter who you're playing, but certainly at the end of the day, when you play a challenging non-league schedule like we do, there are a lot of hits and collisions in those games that sometimes take a little bit of time to mend and heal from.
You've got one of the premier players in the country. I'm sure maybe in California they don't know about Zach, but talk about your gifted quarterback, Zach Dysert.
Well, Zach, he's just been really an ideal quarterback in that he has demonstrated the ability to overcome adversity. And what I'm simply saying by adversity is for Zach, I am his 3rd head coach in 5 years. Zach has had to learn 3 offensive systems, different totally, in 5 years. I mean, you're hoping for the most part when you begin a program that your freshman comes in, learns the system, and maybe by his 4th or 5th year, he's really got it down. And you can say, here we go. Zach's had to erase everything about every year and a half and start clean. So for him to be productive like he is now is really a testament to just him and his resiliency and his ability to overcome adversity.
He obviously is so gifted. Do you foresee him playing on Sundays?
Oh, I would not be surprised. I think, like a lot of places, I've been coaching for a while, and there's certainly a lot of interest that has been created with him throughout the NFL. And at the end of the day, much like us, though, when we look at high school young men, the film has to demonstrate and carry that. And I think there are some really neat things that, as the guys come in and watch him kind of weekly, that he continues to do.
Well, certainly you're a pass-oriented team. Talked to Frank a little earlier, and obviously they're a very good second-half team, and they can put up points too. So I imagine the challenge for you and your coaching staff is to prepare your defense as best as possible.
Well, that's, I think, week to week. We want to continue to do that. We don't, put an emphasis more on one side of the ball than the other. I think each week, though, there are special challenges. And I think, as anyone knows, when you look at a highly explosive Ohio U team, it makes you prepare in every area as a defense because they do so many things well. Unlike us, where we have been more pro-pass-oriented, you look at Ohio U, they show the ability to run extremely well and throw extremely well, and so much of that evolves around the very talented quarterback they have in Tettleton, and I mean, he is just a dynamic player.
You've got a dynamic defensive back in Dayon Nunley, who ranks 8th in your program history with 11 career interceptions.
Yeah, we've got a few guys sprinkled in here and there, and then Dayon's probably one of the more experienced guys on the back end, and I think he is a catalyst for a lot of our younger players that are also playing now.
How about your receivers for Dysert? Talk about his targets.
Oh, I think we've been pretty consistent there. We've been fortunate that at least the top 2 or 3 guys there were returning from last year. Harwell is the one that probably has gotten a lot of the preseason media attention, those type of things, because of the phenomenal year he had last year. But, at the end of the day, there's still guys that make up that entire group. We've got another gentleman on one of the opposite sides, Andy Cruz. Dajuan Scott is another third receiver. So it's really been a success, by committee, if you will, because at the end of the day, what any good quarterback does is he doesn't really have, per se, a favorite target. He basically has to take what the defense is giving them. And really, Dysart has done that this year because you see the numbers much more distributed throughout all the receivers and the tight ends this year.
Coach, you've got a pretty young team, don't you?
Well, we really do, and I think that's always part of what you're building. You're continuing to hopefully take advantage of those players that you have that are upperclassmen that are moving forward. At the same time, you're always building. And within our two deep alone, we've got 10 freshmen that are actively in the two deep, and some of them have even started in some games.
As I'm sure you know, we here at STO, the Regional Sports Network, are the home for the OHSAA Game of the Week and the upcoming tournament. I rank Ohio, Coach, with in no set order. Florida, Texas, California, Ohio. I guess you could put Pennsylvania in there too. But when you consider how many Division I colleges we have in this state, it's still amazing the talent that comes out of the state of Ohio.
Oh, hands down. I mean, that's an advantage of, again, being a product as myself and many, if not most of our staff have been born and raised in Ohio. So we've known that because we've been a product of that, of the tremendous coaching, the teaching, all those things that prepares the student athletes to, be able to demonstrate that at the next level, at the collegiate level. Ohio just does that in a very special way. So that's why, again, having come back here really just only within a year and a half, we've put a premium. And I think if you look at our roster within the last year and a half of what we've done, probably to the tune of 70-some% of our guys are from Ohio.
Does your student body and the campus, they support your football program? Because this is a big game for you. An undefeated team ranked in the top 25 in the BCS coming in.
I think there's always excitement, and it's like anything else. There's always nowadays, as you know, with just the way things are with the social media outlets, and there's so many other things that distract the groups of young people nowadays. There's a lot of things going on campus events because game days are big days, so there's always a lot of things going on those days. But at the end of the day, I think certainly every school looks to support its program.
It helps you've got a bye week you're coming off. You got that extra time to prepare for Frank's troops.
Oh, I think that serves a couple purposes. The preparation is a little bit of a part of it, but I think at the end of the day, when you're fortunate enough to have a bye week kind of mid-season, again, it's such a physical game. I think just getting guys recharged and re-energized and refreshed a little bit with all the physical play and the things that you have. Some guys you actually have out that weren't playing maybe in the earlier to latter part of mid part of the season that now you have a chance maybe to get back as you go down the home stretch.
Coach, I want to thank you for the time and wish you the best of luck against Ohio University. We'll be televising the game this Saturday at 3:30. Then we've got you again on STO a couple of weeks from now. You take on Kent State. They're no slouch either.
Not at all. Hey, that says a lot for our conference. We're really proud of everybody that's doing well, and we just look to continue to improve ourselves here.
Don, keep up the good work. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it.
All right.